What's up everyone, Timothy here, aka F3Fan21, bring you week 4 of the FML Metronome Showdown Division. And this week we have just 5 battles because we had a couple of people that needed extensions. So yeah, let's just not wait too long and jump into the first battle. We have Steve Guy, coach of the Dark types, against Smolev, coach of the Psychic types. So Steve should have a natural advantage normally, but yeah, let's see if that plays out in the game or not. We start off with Tyranitar and Bishop against Slowbro, Galar and Farigiraf, and Slowbro Galar gets chipped in or taken down almost by a single Brave Bird Incinerate, dealing massive damage into the Bishop, and after the Frostbreath, Bishop hangs on by just 1%. Great first turn for Smolev. And Farigiraf is now a pure magic a psychic type because of the magic powder, and the Sensei Storm misses the Bishop, and Zenheadbutt not doing anything against the Dark type. And after 3 turns we have our first kill. Spatial Rant from the Tyranitar takes out the Galarian Slowbro, and still this Bishop lives on there just at 1%. The second Sandstorm World Sand is already up, and the Parabolic Charge from the Mr. Mime is finally taking out that Bishop. Tyranitar is taken down to 30%, and Clefairy comes out, giving Tyranitar a defensive boost with Friend Guard. Farigiraf's berry is eaten, and now Tyranitar is down to just 17%, very low. Farigiraf decides to Charge Beam the Clefairy, not dealing much damage and also not taking out that Tyranitar that survives a Roar of Time. And Mr. Mime is being chipped down steadily, down now to 33%. Farigiraf's Kachu activates, letting him eat that Citrus Berry a second time. And Farigiraf goes for the Terrain Pulse into the Clefairy. A Bullet Punch from Clefairy into Mr. Mime, not doing all that much. And still Mr. Mime is hanging on for dear life. Firing off an Icicle Crash into the Tinglu, but not dealing all that much damage, while Farigiraf decides to heal the Clefairy. Bug Bite from Tinglu, a little too late because the berry is already eaten, and a second miss from Steve on an Oko move. This time it was the Guillotine that missed, Core Change not doing anything, and a Power Gem not doing all that much into the Clefairy, that's for some reason deciding to hold back against the Mr. Mime. Still at 29% though, so not being all that healthy, but decides to set up the spikes because of the Ceaseless as a Spore from Clefairy into the Mr. Mime. So Mr. Mime is now unable to move for at least one more turn. After it comes back in, a Body Slam not dealing all that much damage, and Tinglu decides to set up for a Meteor Beam, Healing Wish from Clefairy. So the Tyranitar is back to almost full health. On the other hand, the defensive boost that the Clefairy is giving is now completely gone. Farigiraf gaining the Dark and Ground typing because of Reflect type. And a Sparkling Aria from the Crocodile is taking out the Farigiraf now that it is super effective against it. A Scald into Jirachi is not able to burn, and now we have a 4-on-4 game on our hands. Fairylock not doing all that much. Tea Time makes it so Jirachi needs to eat its berry, and Upper Hand is not doing anything in Metronome battles. Hyper Voice dealing a decent chunk and chaining the Toxic Chain into the Crocodile, now being toxic. Not all that great for the Crocodile, of course. Flying Press not doing anything because of the gravity. A nice interaction you don't see all that often, so it's fun to know that it works in that way. And now Monkey is locked on by the Tinglu that is just swapping out for the Tyranitar, setting up again that Sandstream, and a Chloroblast doing massive damage into both the Monkey and the Overquill because of the recoil damage that Chloroblast has. Mr. Mime comes back in as Sleep Powder is missed by the Victini. Extreme Speed chopping it down with 25%, and then Aerial Ace almost taking out the Mr. Mime, but it survives on 7 HP, just barely enough to survive the round of Sandstorm. A Fire Blast into the Tyranitar, not doing much, and Mr. Mime takes its mandatory sleep turn here and still survives the Sandstorm because it has not taken a single HP of damage. But Venoshock from the Crocodile is enough to take it out and take this to a 3 and 4, but a Ceaseless as it's enough to take out the Crocodile to make it a 3 and 3, and now there are 2 layers of spikes up on Steve Guy's field. So everything that switches in now takes 17% chip damage, and Brian from Victini is enough to take out the Tinglu. Now Steve has no way of resetting Sandstorm because there is no way of switching back in and out. And with the Poison Fang, the Tyranitar is now toxic, and because of the spikes, the Overquill was down on his last legs, but a recover just in the nick of time heals it back up to 53%. And even though things aren't looking that great for Steve, he is still in the match, but with that Bitter Blade, Victini is healing itself and taking out the Overquill. Can Tyranitar do anything? Smog is not doing anything into Jirachi, and one more turn of Toxic will take out the Tyranitar. Disable insult to injury, because normally it would have struggled itself to death in this case, but in the end Jirachi and Victini stand victorious, and Steve Guy takes a 3-0 loss over Smolev. A very interesting game to say the least, and let's just jump into the second game of this week. We have me against Kenny Bud, Poison against Ghost. And I started with Glamora and Alola Muck against the Tapu Koko and Drifblim. Drifblim immediately getting that Unburden up because of the Electric Seed, gets a Tail Glow, so being very scary. Glamora gets the special attack boost from the Flatter and decides to go in for a Poison Fang, but not dealing anything of damage because of the Ghost typing the Tapu Koko has gotten. A Psychic Terrain gets up, so the priority moves are not activating, and Tapu Koko getting 5 rounds of toxic or pin missiles is crazy, of course. Gengar switches in, so the toxic spikes are gone, and Drifblim decides to switch out, not having anything of the Unburden boost that it had. Weather Ball without weather into Gengar is not doing anything because it's still a mono, or just a single normal type. But Fusion Bolt from Glamora takes out the Tapu Koko. So I do take a 1-0 or 5-6 lead so far. Skills swap. So I get a Grimnay on the Grafaiai, while Poison Touch is not doing anything for the Spectrier. Mighty Cleave takes Grafaiai down very low, and Parting Shot is lowering the attack stats from the Drifblim. Psychic is taking out the Grafaiai, so I don't mind it being Cursed Bodied. And the Charge would is helping against that mystical power from the I can't think of names now. Wheezing, thank you. Confused. The Teeter Dance confuses everything, and Glare onto a non-unburdened Drifblim is helping pretty well. So it needs to switch out. Jaw Lock into the... Ooh, less respects. That's a nice one. Skuntank is now out on the field. A poison dark type, so well, should do well against the ghost types on Kenny's side. Powder Snow dealing a nice chip to both Pokemon, and Clear Smog takes away the defense boost that the Gengar was having. Endeavor not doing anything against a ghost type, unfortunately for me. And still a 5v5 Revelation Dance. Does deal big damage into the Weezing that is no longer confused. A lick into the Sinister Poltergeist, and Poltergeist sets up the Parish Song just when I have some stat boosts on the field. Very unfortunate for me, especially when Weezing is going down to the Power Gem. Stone Edge deals some nice chip, but Poltergeist is throwing up a wish. So whatever is happening, something on that slot is getting its health recovered, and it is going to be the Poltergeist that is getting momentum by the Skuntank, and of course that's not really something I was hoping to see there. Poltergeist gets healed by the wish and has to switch out now because otherwise the Paris Song will take it out. But things aren't looking all that great for me now in a 5v3 situation. A flip turn from the Glamora brings back the Tapu Bulu and sets back up the grassy terrain. A Tail Whip into Clear Amulet, so no defense drop for the Basculegion, but the Gengar is getting dropped. Basculegion gets healed by the Poltergeist and sets up the Stealth Rocks. And Corrosive Gas not doing me any favors because I lose my Black Sludge on Muk, but Clear Amulet and Eviolite are now gone. Prismatic Laser hits for some damage, and Sleep Powder into the Poltergeist is not doing anything because it's a grass type. Now the Drifblim comes back out while Tapu Bulu has to recharge, and Incinerate might take away a berry if there was an item on any of these Pokemon. Tapu Bulu decides to charge up, a Muddy Water hits, and Bulu gets a accuracy drop, so that is very unfortunate. A second Endeavor into Poltergeist. Muk just doesn't notice that it's not doing anything. Headlong Rush into a flying type, not doing anything. Baton Pass giving the stat boosts to the Basculegion, so that's very scary, but a Spore is making sure that it's not being able to sleep. Speed Swap, not all that interesting because of paralysis, and Sleep Turn for the Basculegion. Another Weather Ball into a Ghost type without weather, and a Bubble Beam is just not doing anything while Drifblim is staying paralyzed. Meteor Mesh is chipping down big time on the Bulu that defogs away the Stealth Rocks on my side, so that's nice. Clanging Skills dealing big damage, and both Tapu Bulu and Muk are down very low, and Bulu goes down to the Vice Grip. Takedown again in a normal type move into a Ghost type, not doing anything. And now it's a 2v5 and things aren't looking all that great for me. Glamora again charging up. It's like the third charge so far this battle. And Hammer Arm takes down the Glamora. So now it's Muk against the world. Goes for the Swift. Because of the Psychic type, it does deal damage to the Drifblim, and Leaf Blade is enough to take down Muk. So yeah, another 5-0 loss means that I am not all that lucky this season. But yeah, we'll see that in the end of the episode or this video because of the standings. So let's see game number 3 now. We have that one guy with its ice types against Ash Ice Claw, coach of the bug types. Let's see how things go. We start off with Vanillix and Alolan Sandslash against Necrozma and Charjabug. Snow is set up by the Vanillix, and The flail does not do much because there's no HP taken from Alolan Sandslash yet. Tackle, and we end up with a Fell Stinger, so not much damage being dealt in that first turn. A dive and a baton pass, so the Chien-Pao comes out on the spot of Vanillux. Because of the defense boost in the snow for Chien-Pao, the liquidation doesn't do all that much into it. An Eerie Spell and a dive takes the Charger Bug below half health, but a blue flare from the Necrozma takes out the Chien-Pao cleanly from that point, and now Zeraora has to come in and with a Charge Beam deal some decent damage into Necrozma and get that special attack boost. Psyshock from the Alolan Sandslash does not do much damage because its special attack stat is like non-existent. Just like Fickle Beam, not doing much. Psy Shield Bash, and now Zeraora gets another boost, this time in its defense. Magical Leaf, not doing much damage into Sandslash, even though its special defense isn't that great, it's still resisted. Esper Wing to give it a speed boost. Like I said, the Zeraora takes all the boosts, and now with the after the Scorching Sands, the Charger Bug is going down this turn because of the burn. The accuracy from drop from the Mud Slap is unfortunate for Zeraora because it misses the Hydro Cannon into the Volcarona. Triple Axel not doing that much damage into it. A Flutter into Necrozma to get it confused, and it hurts itself in confusion. So that's very unfortunate for Ash Ice Claw. Sandtomb into the Volcarona, but Volcarona going for the Fiery Dance into Sandslash and taking it out in a one-shot there with it being stabbed. But Volcarona, for its troubles, gets poisoned by the Slush Wave from Necrozma. An Agility for Zeraora that gets its defense boost now because it's an Ice type, and a Water Pulse from the Vanillux takes out the Volcarona, and Healing Wish from Necrozma makes this all of a sudden a 3v4 out of nowhere. Stun Spore gives Heracross the paralysis and perhaps even a Guts boost. Vanillux gets heal pulsed by the Escavalier, not something you want to see as a coach healing the opponent. Water Gun and Vine Whip, very basic moves, chipping down on the Heracross, and a burn on Zeraora gives it a timer now because it is not left over, so it will go down steadily to that burn. Again, Rock Throw and False Swipe, not very hard hitting moves, and a Fire Blast will take out Zeraora there. So now we are back to a 3v3, and Iron Bundle's Quark Drive activates because of the booster energy, but it's deciding to splash, so not much being done there by the Iron Bundle. And Stone Edge takes out the Vanillux, and all of a sudden we went from a 4v2 for that one guy to a 3v2 in favor of Ash Ice Claw. Eerie Impulse, lowering the special attack stat of the Heracross. Heracross gets its Moxie taken away, but it is given the Slush Rush in case of a in case Slow is getting set up. Heavy Slam not doing that much damage, and Rocky Helmet on the Escavalier is being used with great advantages, and a close combat makes this a 1v3. Spooderberg comes in. Minimize that might make things interesting because of the lowered accuracy that is now on Ice Claw's side of the field. But Psycho Cut is able to hit, and Heracross is being paralyzed. The Arctozolt is fighting for its life and for Talk to still get that win under its belt. And Floral Healing is something Ash Ice Claw was not hoping to see there. Fake Tears is being prevented from activating because of Clear Amulet. And a Lash Out is only dealing extra damage if its stats are being lowered. So yeah, that's not doing all that much now. Giga Drain, something finally hits the Arctozolt, and it feels like it's just waiting for Arctozolt to go down at this point, but it's flying up, gives it an immunity, and Future Sight is not doing anything. The fly misses, so because that's a inaccurate move. And Heracross goes for the shockwave. No accuracy check there, so it's hitting for sure. And Stone Edge is taking down the Arctozolt or the Heracross, and because of the skill swap, Arctozolt also gets the Moxie boost. Escavalier gets the Healing Wish that was still on that side of the field. Power Trip misses, and Escavalier goes for a Leer, but again, the Clear Amulet preventing it for the Leer from doing anything. But Whirlpool hitting the Arctozolt is big because it will now steadily be chipped down with 12% each turn. Custom Berry activates, Leech Life is Stab, and now Arctozolt needs to kill both because otherwise the Whirlpool will take it out on the end of the turn. Arm Thrust is not going to do enough to take out the Araquanid. Sweet Kiss hits, getting it confused, but the Whirlpool, like I said, is taking it out. And so Ash Ice Claws wins the battle with 2-0. A great battle from both sides, but the Whirlpool in the end deciding the fate of the battle, and Ash Ice Claw comes out on top of it. Next up we have Victory Stars and the Dragon types against Venus and the Fairy types. So Venus has the type advantage. Let's see if we can see that in the battle here. We start off with Hydreigon and the Kingdra against Togekiss and Hatterene. And Hydreigon is having none of it. Flip turns out, and Kingdra is also out of there. Because as Dragon types facing off against Fairy types, I get that it is pretty scary. Victory Stars forgetting to terrestrialize up the Bear, and a Horn Drill connects from Togekiss into Hydreigon, getting that OHKO kill, and things start off crazy in this battle for sure. There is the terrestrialization, Vacuum Wave double resisted by the Hatterene, Hurricane hits the Blood Moon Ursaluna and gets it confused, but it still breaks through and air slashes. A Bone Rush from the Hatterene gets 4 hits and chips down on the Kingdra, while the Ursaluna is chipped down. Spikes being set up just like the double team. And Final Gambit takes out the Togekiss. Now it's a 5v4 for Venus. And Victory Star is already talking to his team about the bad matchup. And a close combat, hitting the wrong target. If it went into the Tinkaton, it would have been decent. But, and a magic bounce in. So now there are 2 layers of spikes and a stack of toxic spikes on the side of the field for Victory Stars. So in terms of hazards, things aren't looking all that great for Victory either. And Bind into the Kingdra will put it on the timer and unable to switch out, so it has to go for damage, but Rocky Helmet is taking it out because it was already that low. And Minimize from the Tinkaton, and a Healing Wish. Healing Wish from the Archelodon. It was looking at this matchup and was like, no way, I'm done. And now it's a 5v2, and things are going from bad to worse for Victory Star. A lunge misses the Tinkaton because of the evasion rise that it got. And with both the Pokemon poisoned because of the toxic spikes, a String Shot is now also lowering the speed stat of both Pokemon because of the magic bounce. Quiver Dance from Tinkaton making it even scarier. But because of the Mirror Herb, the Dragapult is gaining those stat boosts as well. Dragon Hammer not doing anything against Fairy types, and a Nuzzle chipping it down but not doing all that much because poison is already there. Drain Punch again double resisted by the Hatterene, and because of the poison, Druddigon will now go down, and now it's 5 Fairy types against the Lonely Dragapult. And Dragapult tries to claw itself back, but it only needs one more round of Toxic, and Psyshock takes out and puts Victory Star out of its misery. A 12-turn battle, not all that long, and yeah, Victory Stars was completely unlucky, had a type disadvantage, and every pull he got was almost hurting its team. Incredibly so, yeah. Not a surprising result looking at this battle. Let's jump to the final battle we have this week, and that is going to be Milk Chocolate, coach of the electric types, against Bonnier, coach of the fire types. Let's see if Bonnier can get his 5-0 streak going, because in the first 3 weeks Bonnier got a 3-0 victory, and now we start off Incineroar and Cerulege against Thundurus and Garganacl. And the Thundurus decides to get rid of its helpful Defiant and gives it to Cerulege. Interesting. Tea time, everyone. So Rotom decides to eat its berry. Skill shot at +2 is just cleanly taking out that Thundurus and gives Cerulege, besides the already active double attack boost, also a speed boost. And Sludge Wave deals big damage into everyone. Headbutt from Cerulege, no paralyze there, so that's nice for Bonnier. Shadow Sneak not dealing all that much damage, and Incineroar is lowering the attack stat of both of the Pokemon. Rose of Gas taking out the Citrus Berry from the Incineroar, and Cerulege no longer having a item. And another Sandstorm is being set up, this time in this battle. Rose of Gas not doing anything besides taking away the Rocky Helmet from Garganacl, because he's just switched in. Milk Chocolate might have thought he was safe there because of the earlier Corrosive Gas, but nope. No items are being allowed in this battle apparently. Facade doing big damage, but also getting it healed back because of the floral healing into the Garganacl. Incineroar gets back to full health because of the wish, and Electabuzz gets ready for an Electro Shot. Lunar Blessing healing the Cerulege up by some nice percentage, and the Static activates into the Incineroar after it hits Electabuzz with Play Rough. Electabuzz Electro Shot is enough to take out the Cerulege, so now making this a 5v5 while Incineroar gets Magic Powdered and become again a Psychic type, because that's something we have seen in a lot of battles this week. High Jump Kick from the Ogerpon takes out the Electabuzz, but gets it paralyzed in the process. And now it's Garganacl and Raging Bolt side by side against Volcanion and Ogerpon Heart Flame. Ogerpon decides to go for Double Edge, critting the Garganacl, dealing big damage, and Garganacl being tickled makes its stats being lowered, and Hypnosis not doing anything into Ogerpon because it's already paralyzed. Rotom switches in, and Ogerpon decides to go for the Terrestrialization, getting that attack boost. Just in time, so Machagacha is resisted a little bit less now actually. Spin Out, dealing a little bit of damage into the Rotom and halving Volcanion's speed. Rotom decides to hold back for some reason in this battle, and Astonish is flinching the Ogerpon. And another Spin Out from Volcanion. Again into the Rotom, not doing all that much, and with it not having any speed left, it's deciding to switch out into the Incineroar. Icy Wind chipping down on both the Pokemon and lowering the speed stat. Rock Throw is doing some damage, and a Fly from Ogerpon, a Quiver Dance from Rotom boosting its attack stat, its special stats and speed stat. Rotom now being very low with just 2% left. Raging Bolt at full HP, so that's looking at least decent for a Milk Chocolate. A power split between the... Oh, things are slowing down a bit. Let's have a pause here, and I am going to make sure that it's not happening anymore. And we are back, so everything should be back to normal. My laptop was overheating for some reason because I am not doing anything in the background, so that thing is just being stupid. Let's finish up this battle. It's a 5v4, and yeah, let's play this out from turn 16. Gouging Fire comes in, a Lick, but it's already paralyzed, so not doing much. Mud Slap, super effective against Gouging Fire and also lowering that accuracy, so that's annoying. A Flatter into Rotom that is almost ready to be taken out. So if it hurts itself with Confusion like it does, it's going down. And now it's a 3v5 in favor of Bonier. With Garganacl coming in, not all that healthy. An Acid Armor from Gouging Fire, even though it's slower accuracy. Thunderclap, signature move, but not doing anything because it's everything is already using a status move. Raging Bolt, even though with the accuracy drop, lands a Blue Flare, taking out the Garganacl, and now it's a 5v2, and I am fearing for another 5-0 for Bonier. So let's see, Mega Drain into the Vikavolt. Can Bonier at least lose one more Pokemon, because another 5-0 would make this very lucky Bonier, of course. A Thunderbolt into Raging Bolt, not doing anything. Bulk Up, boosting that defense even further. But the Sludge Wave dropping it below 50%, so that might make things interesting. A Mud Shot into a Levitator, not doing anything. Roar of Time hitting the Raging Bolt, but not taking it out, but at least doing a clean 36% of damage. While Vikavolt decides to switch typing and become a Fairy type because of Convergent 2. But the Blue Flare again hitting the Vikavolt and taking it out. And now it's a 5v1. Let's see, a Bite is not enough to take out a Chi-Yu. And now at 37% Raging Bolt with minimal attack, but a boost in special attack and special defense. Chloroblast not taking out Incineroar, but taking out itself. And again we have a 5-0 victory for Bonier. So after all these 5 battles, let's see what the standing is. Bonier still standing proud at number 1, a 4-0 plus 20 differential, because 4 times 5 is 20. We see Melissa and Average haven't played their week 4 game yet, so those are for next week. Same goes for Weasley, that has to play, I believe, Nudgy Hamter. That unfortunately is dropping out of the competition, so next week is the last battle we see of the Nudgy Hamter, because he promised he would play week 4 at least. So yeah, looking at myself, I am down at 14th, 1-3, minus 10, not getting lucky at all this season. So yeah, looking at the MVP race, Volcanion still on top, 8-0, Escavalier 7-0, Incineroar 6-0, King Gambit 5-1, Incineroar, Thunderous 6-4, Melmetal 5-1. So yeah, that's your top 6 at least. I made a couple of changes to my team. I decided to drop my Terracat and Tapu Bulu to get the Slacking. Clodsire is dropped for Iron Moth, and Venomoth is dropped for Amoonguss. So expect to see those faces instead of the ones that I just mentioned. But yeah, that's it for week 4. A very short video in comparison of the others. But yeah, that's what you get with 3 games being postponed. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a good one, and I hope to see you all next week, of course. Bye!